Hello, Year 5, and welcome to your last reading lesson for this week. Okay, so one of the other skills that we struggled with this last week when you did your test papers was looking at prediction. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a recap on this one, just to familiarise ourselves with the question. It's quite a short PowerPoint, this one, because there's not a huge number of questions that are used for prediction. Okay, but they can come up at different points in time through a reading text and not just at the beginning of a piece of text. So it might be to predict something that happens next within a story. So we're going to have a look at prediction for today. So predicting bit helps us with this skill here. So to predict what might happen from details stated and implied. So when you imply something, it's when you suggest something. So it means that she's going to help us look at a text and make a logical and reasonable guess about what could happen next. Okay, so it's going to need to look at what's already happened, thinking about what's happened to the characters, thinking about what's happened in the situation, what are the facts that have led us up to that certain point in the story, and is there any evidence or clues that suggest that something might be happening next, or there might be some of the use of language that the authors use to suggest that something's going to happen. For example, if someone brought a cake lit with candles into a birthday party, what do you think logically is going to happen next? Well, we associate candles and a cake, especially at a birthday party, as being a birthday cake, meaning it's going to be someone's birthday, and it's tradition, unless during COVID, to then blow out the candles. Okay, so you can see using the clues with the idea of a cake and candles and birthday party, it's a celebration of some sort. I know that people then blow out candles, they make a birthday wish, it tends to be the person whose birthday it is. I can then make that logical prediction that it's going to be taken to the birthday girl or birthday boy, and they're going to blow out the candles on their birthday cake and make a wish. Okay, so it's using those clues already that you've got in the language to try and understand what's going to happen next. So we're going to look at two different types of question types. Okay, again, this links more to our 2 and 3 mark questions, which can be quite difficult. This was, let's go back to where I was, clicked on it already. This one you may look familiar to you. So one of the questions you had to do in your, I want to say it was the maths paper. It was either the maths paper or the reading paper, and you either had to agree with child A or child B or both. You then had to give reasons and evidence as to why. I want to say that it was going to be your reading, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But there was definitely one where you had to agree with either child A, child B, or both of them. It was your reading paper. That's what it was. A lot of us lost a lot of marks on that question, okay? Based on this one here as well, there was an evidence-based question. We lost a lot of marks collectively as a class on those ones as well. So these are the two most common ones that have come up on the last 3 SATs papers, which obviously you'll become a lot more familiar with when we do more of this practice-based work next year. So let's look at this one then. Let's get the hard one out of the way. So this is one where you have to give your opinion, okay? So on some level, there's no wrong answer. Obviously, you are entitled to an opinion. But in order for it to be a valid opinion, you have to give evidence to explain why you think that's your opinion. So when it says, do you think Martin will change her behaviour on future giraffe rides? If you're going to tick yes, you need to give reasons why. If you're going to tick no, you need to give reasons why. Same as maybe. You may be told me you've got, well, evidence is yes and evidence of no. You need to give both of those options, okay? So there's no correct answer here. If you were to tick yes, you're not going to get marked down if you give me 3 reasons as to why it's yes. As long as you can find me the evidence that suggests either yes, no, or maybe, then you get the marks for it. But you have to be able to give reasons and use the evidence from the text. So there will always be a right answer between any of these ones, okay? Always in a reading test. You just have to give the appropriate reasoning behind it for me to give you the marks. So because it's a 3 mark question, goes back to the same 3 mark questions we looked at yesterday for inference, or on Wednesday rather, you have to give at least 2 points. Okay, so it goes back to your PPE, your point, and your evidence. Okay, so you might give 2 reasons to say, well, yes, I think she will change behaviour. You go, well, I think this is one reason, this is the other reason. You then have to say, well, here's the evidence in the text. In the text, it says, and then you need to send the quote that goes with it. So again, for your 3 mark questions, remember your PPE. Give me 2 reasons as to why you think that she will, and then give me a piece of evidence. What's the suggestion in the text that tells you that she's going to change? Has she said something? Has she done something? Has she inferred that she's going to do something that might change? So always remember for that 3 mark question for this one's at the moment is PPE, point, and give evidence. Okay. Your next one that we've then got on here is your logical next step, okay? So this question, I want you to look closely what's already happened, okay, in a specific part of the text, and use it to then predict what you think might happen next, okay? So these answers, so to answer the type of question, you must contain a causal conjunction. So I think that they will ... because it says. So it's effectively just where you have your question and your reasoning behind it. So you provide your point. I think that, so based on what you've read, was the last paragraph suggests might happen to the explorers. So I think the explorers will get lost because in the text it says ... That's where you're going to give a reason. So because, however, okay, so those are your causal conjunctions. That's quite an easy one. It's effectively just your point and your evidence, okay? So, where's my next slide? So, predicting Pip might ask questions like these. So obviously, I've shown you some examples of what the SATs questions might look like, but they could be anything such as these types of questions. So based on what you've read, what do you think might happen next? Do you think that this character will change their behaviour in the future, and why? That's going to be one of your 2 or 3 mark questions. How would someone you know react if they were in this situation? So again, that's thinking about what might somebody else do. So although it's not necessarily predicting, it's using your inference skills of your own experiences and what you've read as to what you think somebody else then might do. What do you think is likely to happen when? So again, we're thinking of something that's going to happen in the future. So use all the evidence that you already have from the story to make that prediction. What clues does the front cover give us about the contents of this book? That's the one we always assume is going to be a prediction question. We do that at the beginning of every piece of reading that we ever do, so we can see what we might already understand about the text. And how do you think the story might end? So a lot of that is going to be based on clues of what you can see and what you've already read that's then going to help you, okay? So to sum it up then, it's a case of looking at what does predicting Pip help you do. So it looks at predicting and understanding and inferring information from the text about what could then happen next. What sort of questions might predicting Pip ask? Well, we know it's either going to be one of your 3 mark questions where you've got to give an opinion. Remembering there is no wrong answer, but to get 0 marks would be to not give me any evidence to support your answer. And also questions of giving evidence, so your point and your explain. So the one that has because, I think the explorers will get lost because it says in the text ... And how can you make sure you get full marks for this question? So have a think. If it's 2 marks, I need a point and I need my evidence. If it's 3 marks, I need 2 points and then I need evidence to explain at least one of them, okay? You might even find for a 3 mark question, it only ends up being 2 sentences, but if you can give me the 2 points and then provide me a piece of evidence that backs up one of the points that you've made, boom, you're done. They're a lot easier, I think, than people realise. But like I said, we'll do a lot of practicing of those questions next year, okay? So I've sent you home with the text to have a look at. Again, it's the Raiders Peril text, but obviously we're going to be looking at predicting. It might be a different part of the text, I can't remember off the top of my head, but have a go at the questions and see how you get on. We'll recap some of these skills in reading when we come back next week to see how you got on. And then based on your test answers and the data that's come through, myself, Mr. Day, Miss Ashford will look at how we work around reading for next year, okay? So give those questions a go and see how you get on, and I will see you guys on Monday. Good luck.